Hello, Chicago. Welcome to the Monday edition of Chicago Sports Podcast. I'm Dustin Jones. I got Brandon Duplessis with me. What up, man?
What's going on, Dustin?
Not much. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm feeling good. Was just on Friday. Missed last Monday, so glad to be back with you. We got Jay Grizz already in the building. Bearski Film. Bear down, fellas. What up, Ant Mass? Bear down, guys. So today we're gonna be talking about just training camp happenings, what's going on with the Bears, as much as information as we have, and kind of take a little deep dive into Keenan Allen. Hey, Brandon.
Sorry, I was reading those lists.
Take a deep dive into Keenan Allen and the chemistry that he's building with Caleb Williams. We're glad you guys are here, guys. Keep the comments coming. Help move the conversation along. It looks like it's just going to be me and Brandon shooting the shit tonight just with you guys. So let's have some fun with it. Our first segment is going to be brought to you by Elite Icons Framing and Memorabilia. You want to call them at 630-863-0647 to get some awesome framed jerseys, pictures, photographs. I see all their stuff all over Facebook, man. It's looking pretty damn cool. I wish I could afford that shit right now. Just got a new house, so put that on hold. But we do have Keenan Allen coming to sign autographs Tuesday, October 1st at Sports and More. That's going to be at the Yorktown Mall in Lombard. We're going to do an interview with Keenan Allen there too, and then he's going to be signing autographs for everybody. So with that in mind, I just want to play one thing for you guys. And as y'all saw, Bearski Film put that video together for us. Thank you very much, Bearski. Great job as always. Again, Tuesday, October 1st, Sports and More in Lombard. Elite Icons Framing and Memorabilia will be hosting the event, getting autographed stuff from Keenan Allen. Come show love to Elite Icons. Come show love to Keenan Allen and the Chicago Bears. And come show love for the Chicago Sports Podcast because we'll be there too. What up, Darius? Happy belated birthday, man. Happy
Hey
belated
man, hey,
birthday.
thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it, man.
How we
How's
doing
everybody
tonight?
doing tonight?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Good, man. Feeling great.
All right, great to have you. We got the dream team now. Very good. All right, so Keenan Allen, guys. We're talking about him because there's, it's just like the highlight videos coming out. Keenan Allen, on the receiving end, it's a beautiful thing to see catching the ball from Caleb, even if it's like a 5-yard out. It just looks so pretty. It looks so pretty. But I don't want to make too much of it. But I guess my bigger question with it is, we're talking about Keenan Allen and Caleb Williams. Are they building chemistry this year? Or is it starting now with this training camp? Are they building chemistry towards both of them having a really big year in terms of that quarterback wide receiver connection? And do you guys see Keenan Allen emerging as the number one receiver on this Bears team? Let's start with you, Brandon.
I think it's detrimental that they developed their relationship early and often because it seems like it's important to Caleb Williams to kind of get the off the field, on the field reps with these guys, knowing them on a personal level and the way they play on the field. We know he threw passes to Rome Odunze before the draft. We know that he went and visited DJ Moore at his youth camp and caught the ball threw the ball a little bit with him. So Keenan Allen's really the one guy he hasn't, even though they've had a friendship for, as far as I'm aware, for about a year now. It's the only guy he hasn't really thrown the ball to prior to this week. So yeah, I think it's definitely who's going to be the number one on this team? It's strange, man. I think all three players can play inside and out. They all play very similar roles and an offense. And I think this is the way I kind of see it playing out. I think DJ Moore is going to be the number one on this team. He was already a Bear before last year. He's going to be your yards after catch guy. He's to me a top 5 in the league at that. But I do believe Keenan Allen's going to be the highest in targets. I think that's the role that Keenan Allen plays since he's been in the NFL. Is he's that insurance guy, and I think that, and I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. I think Rome Odunze is going to establish himself as the greatest deep ball threat on this roster, and he's got his contested catch rate in college was better than anybody else's. But I still think DJ Moore finishes with a total in yards, or finishes first with total yards. I do think Keenan Allen though finishes first in receptions. My only concern about Keenan Allen being a number one is his health. I would imagine at some juncture his age and his health might play a role, and you might actually see Rome Odunze slot in as the number 2 by the end of the year.
Okay, that's an interesting take. Darius, where do you stand on that in terms of production from these receivers this year? Do you see Keenan Allen separate himself from these guys?
I don't think so. I mean, he's going to have some pretty good production, but Caleb doesn't seem like, to me, he doesn't seem like the guy that just sticks to one receiver. I think Caleb is good at distributing the ball out to different guys pretty well, and I think who's the man is going to be a week to week thing. It's going to be it's going to be predicated off the way the defenses play. Now Keenan Allen is a master of finding holes in the zone and getting open, and making those catches between the hashes and things like that. But I think he's in a different situation because in San Diego, they didn't have much to rely on with him due to the injuries of the guys that's around him. Now he is often injured, but San Diego had a crew, you didn't even know who was playing week to week. You see what I'm saying? So his production was heavy in San Diego due to that fact. I think here is going to be different. As far as him being the number one guy, on some weeks he will be, but at the end of the year, I think as far as the numbers, things are going to be spread out pretty even, I believe. And to Brandon's point, saying that Rome is going to emerge as the number 2, I kind of hope that doesn't happen because that means someone's going to be hurt.
Don't you kind of hope that does though with the expiring contract of Keenan Allen? I mean, is that
Well,
somebody?
I think he can still be better and be productive and have a great year, even if Keenan Allen leaves. If he doesn't, just emerge as number 2. My main thing is health. I want it. If he emerges as number 2 and everybody's healthy, then cool. But in this particular situation, I think someone's going to have to
Oh
go
no,
down.
yeah, no, Darius. I was implying that Rome has a good possibility of slotting in as number 2 if, barring Keenan Allen does suffer some sort of injury or just.
Right.
Well, let's get into that now here with Keenan Allen, I mean, one thing that he is, as Darius said, is he's a guy that's going to move the chains on third down and in medium to short to medium. He's a guy that I think Caleb's going to look to. His health has been the biggest issue throughout his entire career. We know that in terms of completing a full season, but he still has production that's pretty damn good, even around those injuries. I want to shout out Bearsky Film, Patty Lara, Cliff Victoria is with us again.
What's
We got
up, guys?
MJ in here. And they're kind of moving on to what, now you said something, Brandon, that I just want to touch on before we move on to the next thing about Keenan Allen. Rome Odunze is, and Bearsky mentioned it in the comments, like Caleb's walking into an amazing situation here. Rome Odunze is a part of that amazing situation that Caleb's walking into, but at the same time, Rome is right now going to be third in the pecking order But from everything I can tell, and then Rome in his press conference said he'll do whatever he needs to do. He can be a complementary guy to those two guys, and he understands his role. So I don't think there's any tension there, but it's more of just a thing of if he comes along, it's going to be slowly in terms of those opportunities. And like you said, it's possibly because there is an injury. So I don't know that we want that as Bears fans. I'd like to see Keenan Allen have a healthy season, but
My thing though is I don't view DJ Moore or Keenan Allen as deep ball threats, guys. I don't. I love both receivers. I just don't see him that way. Neither one of them. You don't. There's no Jamar Chase aspect. There's no. You know what I mean? Like Keenan Allen's a reception guy, a target guy, and DJ Moore's special once he's got the ball in his hands. But neither of those guys throughout the course of their career has been comparable to some of these receivers that just beat you over the top. I think Roman.
Well, that's not fair. Hold on, that's not fair because DJ Moore's never really had a quarterback that can get the ball to him over the top.
Consistent. He had a deep ball, man.
Yeah, but he also it wasn't something that happened often in the game. But when he did take deep shots with DJ Moore last year, they were successful. I would say. I think DJ Moore has more capability than you're giving him credit for getting downfield.
Well, no, coming in as a rookie. DJ Moore, he was looked at as a guy that can stretch the field a little bit. I think his first year here in Chicago was different because his role was different. Darnell Mooney was that guy here when he first got here, and he was the quote unquote possession guy. So that's why we didn't see a lot of it here. But I think all three guys are pretty versatile.
Yeah. That's the good thing about it, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Let's say this is an offense that's had an offensive coordinator, a quarterback, and two receivers already for a couple of years, right? That have all been together, and then you throw a rookie like Rome Odunze in there. I definitely see and understand why a team would slowly kind of work a guy into a scheme but this is brand new, man. I mean, I don't see we drafted the guy 9th overall. I don't see a reason why Rome shouldn't be on the field just as much as anybody else if he proves that he's just as talented as they are. Because like I said, Keenan Allen is not just injured often. He's not young. And if he's on the field majority of the time, you're probably increasing his risk of injury. You're probably slowing him down by the time the year ends. So Rome's just a fresh set of legs on top of anything, as well as being the 9th overall pick in the draft, guys, and touted by some people as the best receiver in a draft with Marvin Harrison Jr. So I would expect to see a lot of Rome Odunze.
I know a lot of it is based on what Shane Waldron decides to do as far as his formations. I mean, I would love to see all three of those guys out there on the field a lot.
I think that's where they're going to be most successful as an offense, where they're running those three wide receivers. Three guys that are really hard to cover.
I mean, it'll be cool, but I think the success, I think it's gonna be I say this all the time. I feel like it's gonna be a week to week thing because defenses, they go in and adjust. If DJ Moore got busy last week, they're gonna give him the extra attention. The next week, which is to leave room for Keenan or Rome or whoever.
Or Cole Kmet too.
Yeah,
you're right. I mean, both you guys are right. The targets here will be spread so thin.
Well, then that leads me to my next question because we're talking about this offense and we're going to get into all the offense. But right now, I just kind of want to. It's intriguing with Keenan Allen and Brandon. You mentioned it, and it's been brought up in the chat already. He's on a 1-year deal with us. It's the last year of his deal. We're going to see. I mean, how well he plays this year, which I think is going to be really well. But the bigger factor is going to be injury concern, and then the bigger factor after that is if he does play really well and has that number one receiver type of season. Where are you guys at in terms of what you're willing to pay a 33-year-old receiver? In the NFL with these receiver contracts just going up and up. Where's your comfort level with that, Darius?
Well, I mean, you definitely have to find it. But what's comfortable for Poles and Cunningham may not be comfortable for Keenan. And with that, we'll have to say thanks. We appreciate you. Good luck on your next team. Because Poles and Cunningham, they're gonna be pretty stern when they get to the table about as far as the price. You're not gonna budge and you're not gonna move them. You know, they have an idea of what he feel, what they may feel like he's worth when it's time to negotiate. And if he doesn't agree, then you know that's why we got Rome. And we also have a whole crew coming out in April. You know, so we'll have a chance to pick another receiver in April in the draft. So you know, I mean, I hate to look so far down the road, but it's kind of inevitable. You're gonna have to do it at some point. But you know, hopefully Keenan this year outplays. You know what I'm saying? What Poles and Cunningham feel like he may be worth, and you know, make those guys move the needle a little bit.
Well, that's a conundrum, and let me kind of just give you an idea of, just where I would see Keenan Allen in terms of an average annual salary. Brandon, you got Pittman Jr. at 23.3 million average on an annual basis. Calvin Ridley at 23 million. Scary Terry at 22.8. Stephon Diggs at 22.5, and DJ Moore, our own DJ Moore, at 20.6. I think Keenan Allen fits somewhere in that spectrum. Would you guys agree with that in terms of his talent level?
Yeah, based off his resume, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, Brandon, are you comfortable with those types of numbers on an average base, annual basis for Keenan Allen to stay on the Chicago Bears?
I mean, I would be. I don't think Keenan Allen is. I think.
You think Keenan is going to get more than the 23 million range annually?
I know that the Chargers and his agent negotiated contract extensions an awful lot, and they never found a number that Keenan and his agent were comfortable with. He believes that he should be one of the higher paid receivers in the NFL. And we've talked about this before, guys. At the age of 33, which is what he'll be when that conversation begins, Ryan Poles is not going to bend or break on that. And that's why, I guess, really does that incentivize the Bears to play Rome a little more, to see if you have something where you don't need to pay Keenan Allen even the money you just listed, even like guys like Terry McLaurin, don't even need to give him that. Because you're right, Dustin, this league it's heading in a direction. The problem too is if you sign Keenan Allen, you've then got one more year where you have to pay DJ Moore, and then 2 years you have to pay Rome Odunze. So you'd have to spread the money really well to retain all three of these guys. Rome's here to stay, but Moore's going to need to get paid, right? Is it the year after this, right?
2025. He's signed through 2025. Yeah.
So I don't know, and it's such a broad topic because we also have to concern ourselves with who else needs to be paid on this roster, and where else does Poles see money is more important than the wide receiver position? Because we all know, guys, it's going to be important somewhere else, more so than wide receiver, I believe. Like, if you can go and sign yourself if you're close, if you're contending, and you think you need that one more, like if you can go get that piece, that edge, or somebody like that, and not spend money on Keenan Allen, I'd prefer the Bears do what it takes to win instead of keeping a good player around that they don't necessarily need if Rome Odunze is the future.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you this now. It may be a few factors that may sway Keenan to change his mind. You know, it all depends on his mindset at the end of the year too. And it depends on the success of the team. You know, he's a guy that's never won. He's a guy that's never really been close to winning. So if we have a great season and he feel like this is the best situation for him at 33 years old, he may take a cut.
I'm not going to take credit for this because I heard Jonathan Hood say it, so I'm gonna kind of paraphrase him. Hood believes that the only way Keenan Allen remains on the Bears beyond this year is a restructure to add 1 year to a deal. I could see something like that as a possibility, which is basically almost a franchise tag, which not too many players love.
Right.
But Dustin's made the point before, man. Ryan Poles just doesn't. 33 years old, man. This is a roster they want getting younger and younger every year.
Yeah.
Well, but that being said, they just traded a 4th-round pick that would have been a young player under team control for multiple years to get Keenan Allen. So if it is for a 1-year rental, then they're expecting some really big things from him this year to help provide the team with a lot of success and some mentorship for Rome Odunze to get him to that next level at an accelerated rate. Now, I got Berlissimo here saying that Adam Thielen is the comparison. at $9 million at 32. Adam Thielen is not the comparison to Keenan Allen.
No, Keenan Allen's a Hall of Famer.
Adam Thielen is
not a
not at
Hall
that.
of
No,
Famer.
and even Adam Thielen was good. He was a good player, but he's not that anymore. Keenan Allen is still very productive.
But
Even with his injuries, that's the difference, guys.
Do you think that they were willing to spend? Because what did you refer to Keenan Allen as? That insurance blanket for a quarterback like Caleb Williams, right? The guy you're
Yeah, I
going to
mean,
look for.
a lot of people always say it's the tight end, but I think on this team it's going to be Keenan Allen.
Right. So
he's going to be the guy that gets those.
Did they want to trade that 4th round pick because they wanted a young quarterback, a rookie quarterback, to have that piece?
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. If it's just a 1-year thing to help acclimate Caleb and him feel more comfortable in this offense in his first year, then that's worthwhile on a 4th round pick. And I agree with you guys. It sounds like we're saying, and I'm in agreement here. I'm not trying to pay Keenan Allen anywhere near $25 million a year to stay on this team. I'm just not, and it looks like the chat is pretty much in agreement with us on that as well, guys.
And this is a situation where you allow Keenan to go out there and test the market and see what he can garner, because I mean, if he comes back, that market sour. Like I said, maybe he comes back and take a friendly deal, to stick around and stick in a winning situation.
That's the other thing I want to address, because, I don't know. I don't see Keenan Allen giving Chicago a hometown discount.
Well, no, not necessarily a hometown. Not necessarily a hometown discount. Not necessarily a hometown discount, but like I said, he's a guy that's never won. Just say we have a heck of a season to get close to winning. That could be motivation for him to stay, because he may not find that. Now, he may get paid somewhere else, but he may not find the opportunity to win anywhere else and get the money that he desires.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's going to choose the money over the winning. I think so, because if he wasn't going, why not? You have Justin Herbert in Los Angeles with the Chargers. If you have a quarterback like that, you always have a consistent opportunity to get to the playoffs.
They just hired
Jim Harbaugh.
But I think Jim he knows Jim is going to have him blocking more than he wants to.
But so as Bears fans, I would imagine Ryan Poles is going to, and I don't like, is going to think a little comparatively to what we're probably thinking in our heads now, because we all just kind of agreed you don't give him that money. But if they didn't draft Rome Odunze, I'm sure we're having an entirely different conversation.
Indeed.
Berlissimo says DeAndre Hopkins getting $14 million a year. He just turned 31. Gonna shit all over that too. DeAndre Hopkins is better than Adam Thielen, but I still don't think that that's a good comparison for Keenan Allen. I think I looked through all those contracts, man, and I think that's the sweet spot for Keenan Allen. And if his agent's smart, that's where he's going to get him. Between Pittman Jr. and DJ Moore's current pay right now, that's where Allen is going to need to end up. It's his last contract he's going to get, guys.
I don't think there's really a comparable player to Keenan Allen. There's no player that plays at the level he's playing at his age. There's no player currently in the NFL that I think he could be compared to. But
Paul brought up Cooper Kupp. That was a solid comparison.
If Rome Odunze
he's 31.
If Rome Odunze wasn't drafted, this conversation would be different. Though, would I be willing to pay Keenan Allen? It would be a lot different if we didn't just take a wide receiver top 10.
Yeah,
for sure. And that's what's great about this season. We get to see Keenan Allen and how he impacts Caleb Williams and how he impacts Rome Odunze, the 2 top 10 picks from this past draft. And hopefully that impact is noticeable and carries over. And if Keenan has to go, then then so be it. He'll be a big part of this team's development, nonetheless.
Can I ask you this, Dustin? Do you feel as if Keenan Allen's contract wasn't expiring at the end of this year, that they would have maybe drafted an edge rusher over a wide receiver at that 9th pick?
I don't think so, no, because I think they had the highest grade on their board on Rome Odunze. Yeah. Poles is the guy that's going to, and any GM who's smart, if you make your grades before you go into the draft,
you get your guy.
You stick with your fucking grades. You're not going to change them based on your positional need. From their perspective, Rome Odunze was that much better than Jared Verse in terms of at their position, the grade they had at him, than a Dallas Turner, whoever it might be, So I don't think so, no. I don't think it changes that at all. And I think the reason that they got him for a 4th-round pick is because of that expiring deal. So I mean, it kind of worked
Oh,
out really well
that's
for
for
them.
sure. Yeah, that's
Exactly,
for
Yeah.
right. So that worked out well for them in that regard. I just don't know if you want to hope against hope as a Bears fan, and I see Burley always like you want to hope that Keenan Allen's going to come at us cheap next year, but just if you look at the trends of what's going on in the NFL, I don't see that happening. I
Right.
don't see a receiver taking a
I'm,
team-friendly deal when these receivers are getting paid like
it's
crazy.
not it's not just a game; it's a business, and Keenan's going to get what
right.
he's owed. If
Yeah.
he has
And
a really good season too, that hurts the chances that he's going to stick around and play in Chicago.
I wouldn't be
Somebody's
down in the dumps if we lose him. I wouldn't be, if we lose him because of that, I wouldn't be down in the dumps, man, because we have insurance.
hopefully he
Yeah, for
wins the
sure. I
Super
mean,
Bowl.
it'll be a good thing either way, I think.
Hopefully he
What's that,
wins
Brandon?
it. Said hopefully he wins the Super Bowl here, and he
Yeah.
can go wherever he wants.
Yeah.
And then Bearski on that question you asked, Brandon, he says, yeah, but you can't convince me there isn't one defensive player that will be a stud in this draft. Totally could have traded back and had a pick of the litter. I agree with that, and I thought that at the time of the draft. But I just, again, if Poles had that grade on Rome that and nobody else was on that level, then I back up the idea of him making that pick in that spot and just standing
Well,
pat and getting his guy.
yeah, because it was aggressive but without risk, right? I mean, Roma Dunze is a pretty surefire talent. I think he got a good player that's going to be here for a long time. So aggression paid off, as far as
For
I'm
sure.
concerned.
And
And
you can't turn a blind eye to blue chip players, man.
no, you
You just
can't.
can't
And
do it.
when you look at the and Bearski makes this point, and this is another one that you got to take into this is that we're talking about it. The receivers are getting overpaid. The teams are
Yeah.
just throwing money at receivers. So if you can get a blue chip wide receiver in the draft that's in a controlled contract for 4 to 5 years, you can't really place a value on that.
No.
Yeah, I'm not even sure the Bears.
Right, Barlissimo, thank you.
I'm concerned about the contract negotiations with DJ Moore when that begins.
I
Yeah.
think, and
Hundred and
that's been
seventy
mentioned in here
million
too.
dollars.
I think that you don't pay Keenan because you got to get ready to pay DJ. You got to pick one, right?
Yeah,
If
you
you're gonna
picked the
have,
younger guy. Yeah,
yeah, I think so. So that makes sense, that makes
And
sense
we
to
didn't
put.
have I mean, and then too, we didn't have the best depth at the position, to be honest with you. At the wide receiver position, like we didn't have the best depth,
No,
so
I
drafting
love Tyler
Rome,
Scott, man. I love Tyler Scott.
you do?
I think Tyler Scott is going to come out this year and surprise some people just with his ability to get downfield, stretch the field, and some gadget plays, some end arounds, some reverses, some stuff like that. He's got something in him, man. I saw it in college, and I saw it in some blips last year when he
I
was on
kind
the
of like
field for the
Johnson,
Bears.
do. I kind of like Johnson too.
Really?
I think he needs to be out there a little bit more. He's a big guy, he can't. He's not a burner that stretches the field, but in those red zone situations when you want to throw that fade, he's good at that.
Yeah, for sure. I
We
mean,
just haven't seen enough of him though.
no, for sure, and I don't know that we're going to be honest. You're going to have few and far between opportunities as a 4th or 5th string wide receiver on this team
Mm-hmm.
to make an impact with the guys that we're talking about at the top of this depth chart. And I
Yeah.
mean, I saw like, and I've been seeing throughout like we're saying we got 3 number 1 wide receivers. I think we're jumping a little bit ahead there, but I do think DJ and Keenan 100% are. I think they are. They've proven that. Rome needs to prove that, and that's going to take some time. But if this pans out at its best possible level, guys, I mean, we're talking about Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Tyler Scott, who could stretch the field, DeAndre Swift, Roshan Johnson, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett.
yeah.
I mean, the amount of riches the Bears have, like, it's just mind blowing from last year to this year. The amount of talent they
One,
have
if
on
you and
offense.
especially if you think of a defense in the NFL, because now you're talking about all 3 levels of the defense, right? You're talking about the secondary, talking about the linebackers, you're talking about the defensive front. There's no answer for all those guys, man. There's no defense in the NFL, I can tell you, has the skill at every position to cover all these guys. I
Yeah.
just don't see that happening.
Like I said, week to week, man. Hey, defensive coordinators, man, they gonna go crazy.
Yeah, they're gonna lose some sleep the night before they play the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, how do you defend it? How do you defend it when like Keenan Allen is used to seeing double teams, and DJ Moore is used to seeing double teams,
Yeah.
and Roma Dunze at the college levels? I mean, these guys are used to drawing multiple defenders into their direction. Their gravity is going to pull people towards them, but it's like, how do you know where to go? Like, I'm going to be so interested to see like how defenses approach this offense. Like, which receiver are they going to focus their attention on to shut down, and how do they plan on doing that?
This is why I have really high hopes. Not high hopes. High. I don't know what word it is. I think Cole Kmet has a good year, man. A lot of people are talking about Cole Kmet being kind of the piece that's left out. I don't see it, because if you're focused on this receiving core, especially if it's just Moore and Allen on the field where you're in a 2 wide receiver set, Cole Kmet's the guy who's kind of left without. I mean, he can beat most linebackers, right?
Yeah.
We saw him do it last year. So I expect him to have a big season, man. A lot of people think his numbers are going to come way down. But as we saw, guys, like I think I read backup quarterbacks, which last year was, I think, it had been the most we ever watched play in a season, right? Target backup quarterbacks. And when I say backup, I mean quarterbacks with lesser experience. So very comparable to rookies.
Yeah.
Target tight ends 80% of the time.
Yep.
I mean, so Cole Kmet is a piece I think is going to be overlooked by a lot of not just fans, but I think by a lot of NFL defensive coordinators too.
Hey guys, Bearsky just mentioned this video he threw down in our little brand buttons over here. So I want to throw this video out here because we're talking about this offense, and let's just get a little bit of a highlight reel for everybody in the comments to check out and get a little hyped about the Bears. We'll come back around and talk some more about this training camp and how we see this season going. Hell yeah. Caleb was slinging it. That was fun. It's just so fun to watch him throw the football in those highlights, guys. So, you see DJ Moore making plays. You see Cole Kmet making plays. I mean, again, it's practice, but like I said, it's just good to see Caleb letting that ball go. And I mean, again, Gerald Everett was an addition. DeAndre Swift, like there's so many players out here for Caleb to choose from in terms of how he's going to attack a defense.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you guys see being the X factor for this offense in this upcoming season?
I just because of his youth, but also experience, I'd still say DJ.
Hold on, real quick. Bearski Film again. Thank you for the video. Sorry, Brandon. I just want to make sure I get that. I know it said it there, but Bearski Film uploaded that video for us, put it together. Great job, as always. Sorry, Brandon. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. I mean, in regards to skill players, who's the X factor?
Yeah,
because
the
Caleb's
guys I
the
just laid out.
But still, I still firmly believe because of his youth, but also his experience, DJ Moore. He's still a really young guy. He plays football at a high level. He's gotten better. He got better last year than he was the year before. So I still see DJ Moore as that guy. I mean, I think he's like he was here last year. So he's the bear, on this offense. He's the veteran as the Chicago Bear veteran on this offense. Rome, as we talked about, it's going to take a little bit of time. Even if he ends up being better than every player on this offense, it's going to take some time for Rome. I do like Cole Kmet, and I'm very interested. I would say somebody like DeAndre Swift, but I have no idea how Shane Waldron. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot of. He doesn't lean heavily on the run, so I'm not sure how those guys get acclimated into his offense. I would still say DJ Moore.
What up, Dobbsy 34? Saying DJ is the number one. Agreeing with you there, Brandon. Darius, what do you think?
I'm gonna put it on him because he's the guy that's gonna have to guide this ship. I'm gonna say Caleb.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, yeah,
Skill
that's
players.
Yeah.
understood. That's
Yeah.
understood. We're talking skill position players. That's why
Oh,
Brandon.
skill position.
Yeah, because Caleb obviously is the guy. I mean, he's going to
Yeah.
determine a lot, right? But like, if you're talking like tight ends, running backs, wide
Yeah,
receivers,
I'm gonna steal another thought from Brandon. Then I'm gonna say Cole Kmet. I mean, because
okay.
he's gonna be responsible for the middle of that field. You know, and moving the chains and getting those making the tough catches and getting those tough yards in the middle of the field.
And he's a big
And that's
body
gonna
target for a young
that
quarterback, man.
that's gonna open it up for everybody else. Similar to the NBA, like back in the day they played the game inside out, now it's outside in. But I think football is inside out. I believe football is inside out.
No, it
Not
is.
outside
Rookie
It
in.
is.
quarterbacks
100% is. So, I
Rookie
mean, like,
quarterbacks are much more comfortable throwing inside the numbers. That's just a fact.
Mm.
Statistics will show they
well,
don't like rookie quarterbacks avoid throwing the corners because you have a much higher chance for interception. So if you have big bodies like Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett, those guys typically thrive with young quarterbacks, man.
I don't see Caleb playing it safe, though. I mean,
No, I don't. Yeah, he's
he's
different.
not that
He's
guy that's
different.
going to
Yeah.
be checking it down to the running back and the tight end every time. And I mean, I don't want him to be.
Well, not every time, but I do believe he makes the
when
right
it's
plays.
necessary. When it's necessary, I think he's going to make the right plays, but he's also going to be, shooting for those big plays because those are going to be necessary too. And I don't know. I've kind of referenced it already. I think when you got Keenan Allen, I think that kind of, if it was me and I'm looking at these guys getting downfield and just the way that Keenan Allen runs a route and how much confidence I'm going to have that he's going to be in his spot if I'm throwing a timing throw into a zone, I'm going to rely on Keenan Allen if I'm Caleb Williams. I really am, just because of his veteran abilities. I don't think it matters that he wasn't on the Bears last year because he's just
Right.
a pro's pro and he knows where to be. He's every play he's going to be in the right spot, and he does a really good job of not letting defenders make plays around him. When if a quarterback doesn't put the ball in the exact spot, Keenan Allen does a pretty good job of switching to some defense if he has to too, and just getting his body in front of these defenders. So I think Keenan Allen is going to be that person for Caleb to rely on this year to, like I said, move the chains.
Yeah. Like we said earlier, those three guys are going to garner a lot of attention. You know, you're gonna have two guys that's gonna get the respect of every defensive coordinator we face this year. That's going to allow Cole Komet to kind of like slide through the cracks, you know, because I don't think they're going to place a lot of attention his way based off of what we have, you know, in those other three guys. So that's why I said Cole Komet.
That's a fair point. And again, I think Cole Komet has shown himself to be reliable enough, you know, and I think that could pay dividends for him this year for sure. It's going to be tough to predict because, like we just said, there's a litany of weapons for him to go to, and I think if he just makes the right play, and I mean we're alluding to it here in the chat with Bearsky, you make the right play, make the right read, and make the right throw. Maybe not the one you want to make all the way downfield to throw the touchdown, but you need to make that, you know, check down to the running back or that, you know, 5 yard into the tight end. You know, like if he just makes the right plays, they're gonna get the ball downfield, and all these guys are gonna eat, man. They really
Like
are.
you said, Dustin, and I'm sure Shane Waldron is going to press it and press and press it. The reads is what's going to be important. Like every play is drawn up with a read one. You know, there's a guy that's supposed to get the ball on pretty much every play run in the NFL. So let's just hope Waldron's system works well enough where Caleb can go to that one read, and that's the guy with the talent they have, man. That's likely going to be the guy who gets the ball.
Yeah. Like I say, a lot of it's going to be predicated on the looks he get from the opposing defenses.
Well, guys, and speaking of defenses, in those highlight reels, and just every time I'm checking in on the Bears this training camp, I just want to know what the hell's going on with Tyree Stevenson. This guy is fucking.
Yeah, you saw that pick.
Oh my
That
god!
rollover pick.
Yeah. I saw the notification come across on Bleacher Report or whatever, ESPN or something. It was like Bears cornerback makes tremendous play or something. I was like, I bet that was Tyree Stevenson. Then I open it up and Tyree Stevenson is taking it from DJ Moore, rolling over the top of him. I just really and the reason I thought that it would be him is because I think that this guy is special, and I think he's going to have a really special year this year. I think we're looking at a top 10 cornerback in the league this year, guys. And if that's true, if that becomes, I mean, it might be a pipe dream, but I don't think so. I think he has the talent to be it, and I think he showed it last year, and he's already shown it in training camp this year. You got two top 10 cornerbacks in the NFL potentially in this secondary.
Tyree Stevenson is by far much more aggressive physically than Jalen Johnson. So you're right, Dustin. He's got the tools to be
he's a ball hawk.
A wrecking ball. Yeah.
He's a physical guy, man. He's a physical guy at the line of scrimmage, and even
Dave Wannstedt even said he could play safety because that's just how he's got that mentality, man. He's gonna hit you in the mouth.
Yeah, he's a nasty dealer, man. I love it. Hopefully he doesn't see any kind of sophomore jinx or anything like that. But what better time to take that leap than now when you have a great supporting cast in front of you, as well as the veteran leadership of our new safety, that can also help him and Brisker. I seen something a couple of days ago when Brisker spoke on the veteran leadership of our new safety, man. That's big. That's big. I think it's gonna. I've gave Brisker a hard time in the past, but I'm really pulling for him honestly, and I think he can take a leap. He can take a leap.
Yeah, he definitely can. And I think this whole secondary can. And I mean, speaking of taking a leap, everybody took a leap to come join us tonight, man. Thank you so much. Bearsky Film, Ant Mass, Cliff Victoria, Derek Carter. What else we got in here? There was a JN earlier, Pete Bearsky, Dobbsy34 getting in some good comments. Berlissimo was in here earlier, had to go to bed. 3:30 in the morning he was on with us, guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
He's in like London or something.
Yeah. It's just pretty awesome, So like and subscribe, share everybody. Thank you for being here. Go ahead, Brandon.
Well, we're talking about X factors, and since you brought up the defensive side of the ball, did you guys see the piece that Eric Lambert wrote? And I think it was June 15th. Yeah, June 15th. About Gervon Dexter.
No, I didn't get it.
Refresh my memory.
Travis Smith, the defensive line coach, told Javon Dexter, which by the way, I don't know, like, I'm sure you guys are probably aware of this. I don't know if the viewers are. The coaches are really not supposed to contact the players in the offseason. That's like big time against the rules.
Yeah.
And so Travis Smith said to him, I don't want to recognize you when you come back at all. Whatever you got to do, you figure out your workout, you figure out a regimen on your own. Well, he contacted Montez Sweat and Jalen Johnson over the offseason when he went back to Miami. And they said he came in, I mean, just 0% body fat this year. They said he's in track condition.
Yeah, he's doing the drills with the defensive ends.
Yeah.
This guy is gonna be a fucking beast, dude. He's the key to this whole defensive line.
Yeah.
But it was the whole defense. Really.
It was cool to read that. Like, they basically told him the work's on you. You know what I mean? We can't help you.
And he took it on. He took it on.
And he came back and they were like, this is not the same guy. Like, he is completely unrecognizable, like top to bottom. So he has been busting his ass, man. And we're talking about X factors. That is the piece that needs to work, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about this on Friday night. I was talking about it on Friday night. They need that person to push the pocket to make life easier on Montez Sweat. You push that quarterback out of the pocket, they're running into that defensive end. If that, Montez Sweat is going to do his job. We know that. It's going to be a lot easier for him to do his job if he's getting some help along that defensive line. And the best place for it to come from, and the way the NFL is these days, just in general, if you're getting pressure up the middle, then you have a successful defensive line. Because when you're rushing from the edge, the quarterback can just step up in that pocket if he's got a clean pocket in front of him. And then now that defensive end is just pushed along by the tackle and he's out of the play. But if you're pushing up the middle, there ain't no way for that quarterback to go but right into that defensive end.
Quickest way to get to point A to point B is a straight line.
Yes, sir. And that's Javon Dexter. So yes, Brandon, I agree with you 100%. We are hoping for big things from Dexter, and I think it's a little bit more than hope because I really, like you said, he's putting in the work, and he showed some flashes last year. It's just going to get better this year.
I was watching some of the training camp stuff this week. He looks different, man. I mean, he's a big dude, and he takes up a lot of space. And all the Bears writers have said, like, once you actually stand next to this guy, it's like standing next to a grizzly bear on its hind legs. I mean, the guy is huge, but he got into what they're saying track shape, like track and field shape, like a runner. And so he
got into track shape, like Brandon Tracks, like
offensive tackle shape. Yeah. He said
Tracks is looking good lately, guys. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, he said his goal was to be in track shape by the time he came back, and the coaches said he more than achieved his goal. So, I mean, if this guy can get the paper side of this thing right, man, the film and just the studying and learning what the practice and learning what this is going to be really important for Javon Dexter, like this part of the season, man, because he has everything it takes to be that guy.
Yeah, I love the fact
it's got to just come to fruition, man.
Yeah, I love the fact that he's gotten in shape.
Come on.
I hope his technique. I hope he sharpens his technique as well.
I just got here. Don't worry.
It's pivotal that he has his hands together while he's in those trenches.
Well, what's exciting me about it is he's always been written as like his draft profile was about his pure strength. I mean, the guy is one of the strongest defensive linemen that's been drafted in the last decade. Honestly, he is. He really is. He's in that conversation. So if he can get quicker without losing the strength by just being in shape, by being in shape, because it didn't say he came in underweight. He came in losing weight. He came in shape, is what they're saying.
Fat turn to muscle type of thing.
Yeah, his weight hasn't fluctuated much.
But it's not with Javon, man. It's not so much about his speed. It's more about his leverage.
Yeah.
Yes.
He needs to stay low.
He was in college, and then
standing up.
His rookie season, he would just stand up off the line versus, dig in and try to get leverage and get up into the pads of that offensive lineman. It's a lot easier for them to get into your pads if you stand straight up. So his technique is going to be the biggest thing that he needs to fix this year in order to be successful.
I hope he worked on. I mean, we can clearly see that he's worked on his body. but his technique is just as important.
Oh, more
And
so
his
for sure.
his pad level as well. Low man wins. So we'll see, man. I'm
Carol's in the
excited.
building. Michael, what's up, man? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I would have been here earlier. I was trying to get off the course at the golf course. Golden rule at a golf course: if you're working there, do not be the last card in. I was probably done at 8:30 and had to wait 30 minutes for this kid to come in. Super annoying, but I made it, so that's all that matters.
So we're just talking Bears
Good to
here.
have you, man.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
being here.
good
We're
to see you
just
guys.
talking Bears, talking.
What's going on, Mike?
I mean, we've been talking training camp stuff. Keenan Allen, Tyreek Stevenson, X factors on offense, X factors on defense. I mean, do you have any? Did you hear anything of what we were talking about? You have any thoughts that you want to add before we move on, or?
No, I've been seeing the Javon Dexter stuff. I mean, it literally looks like he completely changed shape. I mean, he was a big dude last year. He still is a big dude, but like the difference in big, right? He's more muscle now. He looks completely toned, defined, whereas last year he was just kind of big, more muscular. But I will say, I think you could have a little bit of a concern if he lost weight. Maybe he'd get pushed around a little bit more, because I think that was something Will Anderson said, the end from the Texans. He beefed up this offseason because he was getting pushed around. So you hope, Dexter, this is a fat to muscle, and muscle obviously weighs more. So hopefully he actually ended up gaining out of this. But I think there's a small concern he could have
Well,
maybe slimmed down too much almost.
They said his weight didn't fluctuate too much. He's
Okay, so then that's
pretty
the good
close to
thing.
where he was. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Will
Yeah.
Anderson came in at like 255. Javon Dexter
Yeah,
is
he was
a
a
different
light
kind of
boy.
animal, right? Like
Yeah.
Bersey says,
Yeah, and the tackle.
my draft guy said physically he was a crazy prospect. We're seeing that now. I mean, if he just turned that, what was flab into muscle, then that's a huge
Yeah,
deal. But
that's
like
a
I
plus.
said, for sure, I just firmly believe even if he lost some pounds, if he improved on his technique off the snap and just the leverage he gets on that offensive lineman, then that's going to make the world of difference for him.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 100%.
Dobbsy asked, so do we think he's switching to DN or just doing the reps to be flexible? No, we're not thinking he's switching to DN. Maybe in some special packages of some sort, but no, he's going to be our 3 technique, and that's
it's a pipe dream.
There's no talk of him switching to DN.
Their goal is Aaron Donald like material, man. I mean, that's what they want. They want somebody who can rush the passer from inside, and that's what they want. And that's.
But yeah, I mean, well, they want that person. It's not an Aaron Donald comparison doesn't make any sense because he was a 6 foot, 290 pound, just bowling ball that kind of leverage thing.
He's compared to very frequently. He was compared to, especially coming out of high school, was Carter. Jalen Carter and Javon Dexter had a lot of comparisons coming out of high school. Javon Dexter was actually ranked above him coming out of high school as a recruit.
That makes more sense. And I mean, a Chris Jones type, even like he needs to be that level of a defensive tackle, for this defense to be as successful as we want it to be.
Yeah.
And Dobbsy, like you're saying here, sweat at defensive end. Pickens, no, it's not going to be nose tackle is Billings, I believe, starting, and that's what we want starting at nose tackle. Billings is a space eater. He's going to take up blocks. He's going to take up space and make these other guys free to move around a little bit and kind of stop the run game. But then we're looking at Lawrence.
I don't think Pickens is the 3 tech. I think their hopes is
Pickens is the backup nose. Pickens is the rotating nose behind Billings.
Yeah, and then Keith Randolph's actually listed behind.
That's the backup 3 tech.
Yeah.
Yes. I like Billings a lot, and I think he's going to play a big role in this defense. I mean, I think my biggest concern, guys, like it has been this whole time, every time we talk on these shows, is the defensive end opposite Montez Sweat. Austin Booker looked real fluid in those videos in that highlights. I like the way he was looking, man, with his hands and how quick he was around those corners. That was fun to see. Austin Booker is my pray to God he steps up and becomes that guy on the opposite end of Sweat. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I pray the same prayer. It's not talked about a whole lot. Getting your body in shape, but technique is so important when you play those line positions. Because those offensive linemen, they some smart guys, man. may not always look like it, but they're very savvy, in those trenches. And your technique as a D lineman is very important because once those guys get you, man, if they get you, man, they can control you. And
So
you
you're
to
talking
have good
about.
hands, that keeps those offensive lineman hands up off you.
Are you referring to because I so as much as I've read, Booker is kind of the opposite problem, right?
Yeah,
His technique is kind of screams off the sheets, but
yeah,
his conditioning is a little
Yeah.
yeah. He's,
subpar, I think.
he's a little light up there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, between him and Lawrence, hopefully you have, or sorry, Walker, hopefully you have a solid enough rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, I don't want to beat up the the should we sign this defensive end or that defensive end. I know that Yannick and Emmanuel Ogba both visited with the Dolphins today, so. The Dolphins are going to be signing one of those guys, I would imagine, and the other one might be the only thing that's left over for the Bears. But they said they're comfortable with who they got. You guys agree with that? You believe that they won't be making a signing at that defensive end position?
Could be. I mean, it could be someone to emerge in this preseason, man. I think that's what it's for. That's what training camp is for, and that's what preseason for a guy that's not highly heralded to come, become a diamond in the rough and make this team and make the roster for week one, you know. But if it doesn't happen that way, then yeah, we need to hit that. We need to holler at Yannick or whoever. You know what I mean?
I don't want anything to do with Yannick.
Didn't the Dolphins just sign Calais Campbell?
They did.
Yeah.
I didn't read that or see that.
Yeah, like a month ago. He's a Dolphin.
I know. I'm just telling you, those two guys visited with them today. I
don't want to take that route. I do something about me. And I don't know that I agree with it, but I do think I'm right. I something about me thinks the Bears have plans for Dominique Robinson. I can't. I don't see him being the guy that gets. A lot of people have him on the cut list, one of the top 10 Bears to be cut.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to make this roster, man.
He needs to. I mean, you can't give up. We had the show with John Draft Vogel a few weeks back, and when I asked him about who he thinks that defensive end could be, that was his answer. It was Dominique Robinson. I was so excited about that because, I would love for Dominique. He hasn't shown it,
No, he isn't.
He still has the physical abilities. It's can Eric Washington tap into the mental part and get him better?
You're right, Dustin. He is the ideal defensive end physically. Really, he is. You want a defensive end to kind of be that guy, but I don't think the Bears have moved on from him. There's a reason, he was a healthy scratch in multiple games last year, but there's a reason he's still on the roster. I think because they want to give him a shot again. And I think you're right, Dustin. It's something I didn't even think about it. Eric Washington is known for kind of turning these guys' careers around, the same as Waldron was for Geno Smith. That's what Washington's done, and especially with young guys. And he's still young. Dominique Robinson's still a young player, so
he is. I hope you guys are right, but I've checked out on him, man.
I like Robinson's potential to become a better player more than I like Walker as a player in its entirety. I really do. I'm gonna catch a lot of grief. I shit on Walker probably more than I should, but I just don't see it, man. There's nothing there to be excited about. There's when Montez Sweat was acquired, that was the one, because Montez Sweat was the multiplier, right? That made everybody better. Walker was the one guy I just didn't see improve. Yeah. And it was probably because Yannick went down and Walker was required to be an every down player, and he doesn't have that motor, but he didn't get better across from a really good player, man. So
we got Cliff Victoria.
I feel like Walker inside.
Yeah, well, we don't need him inside though. I mean, maybe in like a NASCAR package, I guess, but I don't know. He needs to show me something. Cliff Victoria here saying that he would much rather have. He's harped on it a couple times with Connor Williams. Much rather have him than any edge that's available out there. I mean, just in terms of talent-wise, at the position, I would say Connor Williams is probably a better option than any edge. I was thinking the other day, Brandon, how do you say that guy's name? Is it Hippopotamus Vitae or Hoopa Loopa Vitae?
You're not talking about.
Yeah, I'm talking about he was on the Eagles and the Lions. He's out there. He's had reps at every position along the damn offensive line, basically.
Oh, yeah, dude, it's Halapula Vatai.
Vatai, yes.
Yeah.
Woo.
I
So,
like
God,
Vatai.
it's like trying to say Vita Vea's full name.
No, I'm talking about that gentleman there. I think he could be a really good option and a lot cheaper than Connor Williams. A lot cheaper than Connor Williams. I don't know what you guys think of that. If you have any thoughts on that, that offensive line depth could be made a lot more comforting with a signing like that. I think that guy has a lot of experience at both guard and tackle.
Well, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong either way. You know, I think we have a bigger need on the edge, on the defensive edge, than we do inside, because I think the player Caleb is going to kind of hide some of the deficiencies, if there are any, of those guys. But I just truly think pass rush is a thing based off because of the way the direction the league has gone. I don't think you can
But
never have
Darius,
enough.
can I ask you a question, man?
Mm-hmm.
If regards to both sides of the trenches, which
Right.
one would you rather have concerns with going into a season?
Defensive side or the offensive side?
Defense easily.
Based off of this team this year and the way it's constructed and the players that we have
With the rookie quarterback,
even with the rookie quarterback, because the guys that's competing for that center position, it's not like they never played before.
I'm going to say broadly excluding what the Bears have in place. Just
Okay.
which side of the ball would you rather have a concern with?
I mean, offense, of course, because it's about scoring points.
You'd rather have a concern with offense, you'd rather be concerned about your defense, right?
It's just confusing the way you're asking this question, Brent.
Yeah. Okay, but I got it.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bears, because we've been so, inconsistent offensively, I would go in the direction of offense, because we've had great defenses and still hasn't had the success that we should have. You know what I mean?
I think we're all in agreement there. Michael, you said you'd rather have some weaknesses along that defensive line than the offensive line, yeah?
Yeah, easily. Yeah, I mean, you always got to protect your QB. I mean, that's probably the crown jewel. You get the QB, you got to keep them upright. They can throw to basically anyone if they're good enough, right? But if they're on their ass 24/7 the entire game, it doesn't really do any good. So I'd way rather have that QB protected.
You can make that same argument for getting after the quarterback, though, too.
Yeah.
Right? If it's the crown jewel, right? If they're on their ass the whole time, then, so like you're impacting the game on both sides.
Yeah.
Tracks, we love the opening video. We had the highlight video in the middle, too. I can't check text on my phone right now because I'm doing this on my phone. But, yeah, everybody seemed to love the videos. Guys were hyped up about it. I liked it a lot. Bearsky did a great job on it. We had the Keenan Allen video, too. We've treated you guys with a couple videos today that, hopefully you enjoyed.
Michael, have you been told you look like Connor Bedard?
Many, many times, actually.
Keenan Allen video was sick.
Yes, you do. That just hit me looking at
I think I got told like 5 times in the span of a week when I was at college last year that was my doppelganger, basically.
Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I wanted to touch on too, guys, and just NFL wise, I mean, before we beat the Bears to death, we had talked a couple weeks ago about the passing of Kyrie Jackson and how we hope the Vikings did the right thing, right? Made sure that they took care of him and his family. And I saw a report today that they are doing that. I mean, the remainder of his signing bonus is going to get paid to his family's estate, which is $827,148. So that's pretty huge, I mean, they're paying out all of the signing bonus to him, to the family, and they're going to cover a significant portion of the funeral and do an honoring ceremony for him in the season. So it's cool to see the Vikings stepping up to take care of this dude's family in such a tragic time. I mean, we didn't know if they would do the right thing, but they certainly did. And I mean, a lot of eyes were on them.
That was a great move by the Vikings, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you followed up with that. I'm happy to hear that. I was definitely interested to see which direction that would all kind of lead. The NFL's not known for doing the right thing. Obviously, this is the Vikings more so than the entirety of the league, but I would also still like to see them get some sort of compensatory pick.
Yeah.
I also just want to say I'm trying to show the chat, guys, but I also don't want to block out all of Darius's entire
That's all right.
face. So like, I'll show them and then I'll drop them out, But like,
That's all right. They got Connor
we come here
Bedard.
to see Darius, guys. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, Kyrie Jackson his family being taken care of. That's a great story in the NFL right now. Happy to see that. Some other stories in the NFL right now. We got the Jordan Love thing going on, Brandon. What do you think of his holdout? He said straight up, "I'm not practicing until I'm paid." And the Packers seem to be okay with that, his stance and where he's coming from. So, what do you think about that, Brandon?
Yeah, I think this is interesting, and regardless of it being the Bears' rival, when this happens on any team, you can read all the reports where Schefter and these guys are saying it's going to get done. It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. It is, because training camp's begun, and if this guy's not showing up, and you don't know how long these things go, 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks. I mean, this is still a really young team. He's still a really young player. He only started 1 year, so every day that a player's not with his team is an impact in the future, right? And I find this to be a bigger deal than the NFL world is, I think. I don't want to blow it up, but Jordan Love,
Sounds like you kind of do. Sounds like you kind of want to blow it up.
well, I mean, where do you guys stand? I mean, I think he wants like a $200 million contract. Where do you stand?
Yeah.
Well, that's where we're going to get 1 year. Go ahead, Michael. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, like you just said, it's 1 good year. I mean, can you imagine if Caleb goes out there, has a 4,000-yard, 30-touchdown season, demands $200 million? I mean, it'd be like, all right, let's calm down a little bit. You had 1 good year.
I think it's in the ballpark of 217. I think 217 is what his agent. Yeah, that's a lot of money, man. So do I think this gets done right away, like Adam Schefter and these guys? No.
Guys, hold on. So Trevor Lawrence got paid $200 million guaranteed. These are the two most recent signings, right? Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff of Don Burr's Detroit fucking Lions got $170 million guaranteed. Now, I don't think you guys would want to pay Jared Goff that money, but the Lions did, and Jordan Love is going to get paid, guys. Rob Demovsky said straight up, I completely understand where he's coming from. That's an exact quote. So, like, they want their guy to get paid. They are not even upset that he's holding out. I don't think it's that. I think in a couple of days they get a contract done. Now, if it goes longer than that, longer than a week, then you can start to get concerned, I think. But you got to pay quarterbacks in this league if you want to win, Darius.
Got to. Even if you go 9-8, you got to. But in all seriousness, like, I'm not mad at Jordan Love for two things. Number one, he's away from the team, so it may rock a little chemistry. But number two, he's taking advantage of the leverage that he's created for himself. He's been with Green Bay for
5 years now.
Yeah, this is year 5, and that 1 year. Listen, all you need is that 1 year, to stay the claim. It's not like he had a gap. He showed improvement.
Let's be real. Let's be real, because he took a bullshit deal last year.
Yeah,
the Packers put him on a deal where they said, we think you're the guy, but we don't know if you're the guy, so let's give you this little bit right here.
Yeah.
Like, when that deal was signed, I completely thought, like,
with the numbers he produced,
I firmly believe
we got to go back to the table.
He is the guy. I think he is the guy. I do. I think he is a good quarterback, and I think he's going to be a good quarterback.
Yeah, so I mean, with the numbers he's produced, it's time to go back to the table, man. We gotta talk about this again.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you got Tua, who, with his injury history, who needs a deal, and the Dolphins. I mean, do you want to pay Tua Tagovailoa, $200 million guaranteed, $150 million guaranteed, even like with his injury history, like the quarterback contracts. The quarterback contracts right now are they're just going up and up, and I don't think that's going to stop. People are talking about they want to put a cap on these quarterback contracts. I don't think that's going to happen. It's the most important position in football. Yeah. And like Michael was saying, if Caleb Williams comes out and throws for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, I'll be the first one to say, "Fuck, pay him."
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
honestly, you have to be successful in this league, guys. Just from my perspective, but also there's that gamble. It could not work out too. So
I think
but it's going to be important to us.
I think the team, the organizations, they have a responsibility to themselves to, kind of, you know, negotiate this thing out. Because it's business at the end of the day. We are in a business, and each side feels like they have more leverage than the other, and that's why you come to the table and negotiate. But one thing these owners have to ask themselves, and got to be 100% real with themselves. Okay, if we decide not to sign this guy and let this guy go, who we gonna replace him with? Because it's not
Exactly.
like good to great quarterbacks are falling off a tree somewhere and can pick one off the ground and just throw them in there. You know what I mean?
No,
So
yeah,
that's the question these owners have to ask themselves when they kind of frown up at the price demands.
Yeah, and me and Brandon were talking about this earlier, man. With the Cowboys, you got Dak Prescott, who you got to pay, and he's gonna be the highest paid quarterback in football, no matter who pays him. Well, it might not be the Cowboys, but some team is going to pay him and make him the highest paid quarterback in football. That's going to happen. But the Cowboys also have CeeDee Lamb. They gotta lock up. They also have Micah Parsons. They gotta lock up. So I mean, like, how do you make that decision? And if you're the Cowboys, the quarterback is the most important position. Do you not pay Dak? I think you have to, don't you, Michael?
I think you do. Again, I've been a big fan of Dak, probably more than the general public is. I think he's a pretty damn good QB. I'd probably easily put him top. I don't know. I don't want to say a wrong
top
number
8.
off the top. Yeah, top 8. I think you can easily say. If he wasn't a Cowboy, I think the public perception would be a lot higher than what it is. I mean, he was the MVP of the league for the first so many weeks. I mean, he was on fire, and then obviously lost steam, and that didn't happen. But yeah, I think he'd be worth it. Like, I think I was saying, like, if the Bears didn't go with Caleb, they kept Fields another year. If he didn't work out, throw a blank check at Dak Prescott, and then you still have a contending team.
Yeah, but that's how you manage that cap. And the biggest thing with Dak is, he's got that steam, but he loses it in the playoffs.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah,
knock on him. That's a tough pill to swallow if you're a team like the Cowboys. And like Bearsky's saying, it's about winning Super Bowls to build your brand. And that's hopefully what the Bears are doing with Caleb Williams. But if Dak's not getting you there, I don't know. That I feel like the Cowboys are Brandon. I feel like the Cowboys are in the toughest position in football right now with those 3 guys, and one of them being their quarterback.
Yeah, I don't envy him because CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons played just as big a role as Dak Prescott does, man. I like you said, Dustin, we did talk about this earlier, and you told me they'll find a way to get it done. I think they do. I truthfully believe Parsons is going to be the guy that, I don't know, man. These wide receivers and quarterbacks are making so much damn money, but that kid is the best. To me, if you ask me, Micah Parsons is the most talented of the three players that team needs to pay. So I don't know what the hell they're going to do. I don't envy I don't envy Jerry Jones. I do think they get it all done. I think, one of those guys is not going to get a long-term deal.
Yeah. And I think Dallas as a whole fizzles out when it comes down to playoffs and stuff like that, because that defense was a top defense all year long.
That's why I compared Dak to Kirk Cousins, because the guy gets paid. Cousins got paid again, and it's a guy who we haven't yet, like Sparsky said, Super Bowls are your brand, right? We haven't seen him win one yet, but the guy keeps getting paid everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
So
Dak's a much better quarterback than Kirk Cousins in my mind.
Yeah,
I don't think they're comparable, to be honest.
Like statistically, or just like overall as a
just
player.
Like both. I mean, statistically, like they're probably in the same realm, but in terms of the guy I would choose to quarterback my team, Dak Prescott can make plays with his legs when things break down. He's got a better deep ball in my mind too, and he's just a better leader. In my mind, so I would take Dak over Kirk Cousins. But I mean, the reality is we got a guy that we hope turns into a player that's better than all these guys we're discussing, and when it comes time to pay him, hopefully there's no question marks like there was with Trevor Lawrence. Like, the Jags just paid him a lot of money, and I don't know if he's shown what you would want to see from a guy drafted at the number 1 pick in his first 5 years in the NFL, man.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, a lot of these quarterbacks get grief, but at the end of the year, only one team raises the Lombardi. You know what I'm saying? Someone has to lose. And I would rather a quarterback that gives me a chance year after year than me sitting up here picking in the top 10 for the next 4 or 5 years trying to find out if the guy we picked was the right one. You know, people give Jared Goff a lot of grief and say that you know, Detroit shouldn't have signed him that much money, but at the end of the day, Detroit had Matt Stafford and still didn't have the success that they had with Jared Goff. You know, they
That's
had
not
Matt
fair, though,
Stafford
because
and
Matt
Calvin
Stafford
Johnson.
did not have the team that Jared Goff has around him.
Yeah.
I mean, he had Calvin Johnson. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, he had Calvin Johnson, but like, what else did he have? Their
And
He didn't have the
Dominican
best
Sue.
offensive line in
Darius
They
football.
have the
Slay.
best offensive line in football, bro.
Well,
Like,
let me say this in regards to the quarterbacks. 'Cause I feel like the differences nowadays is because it is a position, like you said, it's the most important position in sports, not just football. And I think the reality is that you get paid in this league now for being good, not being great, right?
Yep.
I mean, good quarterbacks get paid big money, and they don't have to be Tom Brady. They don't have to be Patrick Mahomes. You
but
can
that's
be
not
Jared
about their
Goff.
skill set. That's not. It's just about the market. It's about the market for the quarterback position. So
But
that's
at
what
the
I'm.
end of the day, they can choose to walk away from these guys, but they're not.
Well, because they can't. Like you
Right.
said, they don't have a better option.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know, that's
I
the
got a
thing.
question for you guys. I think this will be a good question because I've been thinking about this. We're talking about these quarterbacks. And we know the MVP award is a quarterback award. What quarterback is going to win the MVP this year? That's for any.
If I had to bet, I would say Patrick Mahomes.
Ew.
I know.
Boring.
I think that offense is going to get back on track, man. They had a bad year.
They had a Patrick Mahomes still threw for 4,500 yards. A bad year.
Yeah, that's why Patrick Mahomes should be the MVP every year that he plays football.
Michael, what do you think? You got any ideas on
Joe
who
Burrow
would
can be
picking
if he comes back.
You already gave your answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not say Mahomes, but since Brandon did, I'll go. I think Burrow or Lamar even repeating again. I mean, those offenses are still set. You just gave Lamar King Henry. Like, their running game was missing a true leader, a workhorse in that running offense that Harbaugh runs. I mean, he could do it again, and he wouldn't even have to do as much with King Henry taking a lot of the rushing load. Able to keep him upright, not running as much, make him throw the ball. He's a great thrower. He's a great runner. He's a great thrower too. People forget about that.
Yeah,
and I also think Burrows could easily join that conversation.
CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is up there.
And a lot of people won't admit it, but Brock Purdy, man. If Brock Purdy,
he was in contention last year.
Yeah, he was like third, I think.
Yeah.
So was Stroud at some point in the season.
Yeah. I think Stroud missed a couple of games, but
Brock Purdy had a hell of a year. Everybody wants to talk about the system. It's because of the system. If he wasn't in the system,
regardless of how he doing it,
he's in the system. He's in the system. That's what he's in. And then his numbers are his numbers because of that. So
like, there were some guys in that same system before him that was nowhere near that successful, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Kirk Cousins been in that system, and he ain't put up numbers like Purdy. He ain't taking a team to an NFC Championship game 2 years in a row, to a Super Bowl.
I'll never knock Kurt as far as stats because he always gonna have those. But you know, as far as being efficient as a passer, and you know, just having a group that's gonna allow him to be in the winners conversation, you know, I think that they have to put the spotlight on him for MVP. I mean, they got the same crew coming back.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think from that? This is for the whole panel. Who do you think in that division has a better season, Baker Mayfield or Kirk Cousins? Baker went off, man. Baker went off last year.
I don't want to answer that question.
He threw what, 4,000 yards?
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
I think Joe Burrow is going to win MVP. I'll just go back. I didn't get to.
He did. Yeah, if he's
I think
healthy,
you mentioned it, Joe. Your second answer, but yeah, Joe Burrow and Michael brought him up too. I think Joe Burrow's ready to have a hell of a season, and the
I just
Bengals
hope he
might be
stays
pushing for the
healthy,
Super Bowl.
man.
Yeah,
If he's healthy, obviously that's the biggest thing. But
yeah, I hate he gets hurt, man, so much.
If CJ Stroud gets any better, he's in contention
for sure.
He's got the second best odds right now.
Bearsky says Baker. I mean, honestly, man, if Kirk Cousins can light it up, we know that. Like, and with Drake London could become the player I've been expecting him to be for a couple of years now.
Talking about expectations,
I don't have any faith in Kyle Pitts. I really don't. I thought he was overdrafted.
I don't want to. Yeah.
No,
I think Darnell Mooney. I think Darnell Mooney has a resurgence in Atlanta.
Darnell Mooney is a huge addition for them. With but so like Kirk Cousins has better. Mike Evans, Godwin. That's a hell of a combination to be throwing to if you're Baker. And Baker's got brass balls, man. That guy.
Yeah.
He don't quit and he don't give a shit. So
he's tough to tackle too,
he's
man.
He's a tough guy, man. He's a tough guy. I mean, he's mentally tough, man. He's battle tested.
Cousins is not that tough. Baker's tough, man.
Yeah, I respect Baker a great deal, but I think Kurt is the best quarterback in that division.
I got a question for Darius. Darius, how long until Kirk Cousins' chain gets snatched in the ATL?
Oh no. If you winning games, he ain't got to worry about none of that.
They're gonna keep giving him more.
If he winning games now, if they losing and he looking bad out there, he gonna need some assistance to get to the car.
Put it in the bag.
Yeah,
guys, we got 80 eyes on us right now. Chat is blowing up. Love you guys out here. Cliff, Bearski, Scottish Bear joined us. Very, very good night so far.
Yes, indeed.
I wanted to touch on USA basketball if we got some time for that. I don't know if you guys got to watch them today. I got to catch some of it. What the fuck is going on with this team? What are they doing? I mean, they look slow. They look slow getting back on defense. And I understand their warm-up games, but like every time they go into the Olympics and you start getting this vibe, how does it end up working out once the real games start? I mean, you see bronze medals
It's some dysfunction over there. It's some dysfunction over there. You can tell. It's some inside bickering on their team. It's a little dysfunctional over there. You can tell.
I don't think they assembled a roster well anymore, man. It doesn't. The pieces they're good players, but they don't necessarily fit.
I just don't think they care. Honestly.
That's why Derek Williams was selected over Jaylen Brown because
Derek White was selected
or Derek White.
No, Derek White was selected over Jaylen Brown because he's not going to play and he's going to be okay with that. Jaylen Brown would not have been okay with that.
Well, I think they're also trying to make it fit. Like they're trying to make something work. Like they have enough. Jaylen Brown serves the same purpose as some of the players that are already playing on that team. But then the thing that I've questioned the most.
Go ahead. Sorry.
The thing I've questioned the most is the minute distribution, man. I mean, they're giving the oldest players on that team the minutes, and I understand there's a respect there, but Anthony Edwards should be on that court, man.
Anthony Edwards looked like ass today every time he touched the ball.
Yeah, he did. He looked bad.
He is out of rhythm. He's out of rhythm. You're right. He's not getting enough playing time.
Yeah.
When he gets in, he's trying to do too much. But he's getting up in the air and not knowing what he's going to do, throwing passes to the other team.
Well,
man.
And what's funny is, did you guys hear before the Olympics started, before the qualifying started, they asked him, the exhibitions, I should say, sorry, they asked him, who's the number one, who's the guy on this team that should get the ball?
Yeah.
And he said, me.
Yeah.
And then after that South Sudan game where LeBron took over for the last 8 minutes, they're like, so how'd you guys pull this one out? And he's like, LeBron James. That's all I can say.
LeBron did it again today. Did it again today.
Well,
he took over and he just became he was like, no one's gonna stop me. I'm gonna back. LeBron is still putting it in, and like Darius was saying, when Anthony Edwards is saying shit like that, And then Joel Embiid is talking about how old LeBron is and how
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, that was
like
disrespectful, man.
yeah, this bicker that there is some shit going on, and LeBron is like, I'm gonna show y'all.
But
And
I
he's
think what
letting
it
it
is,
go bad until he takes over to be the hero. That's
I
what's
think
happening.
what it is not. I mean, you can say it's disrespectful, but you gotta respect a player for speaking his truth. Because he's saying LeBron's old because you know the
Well, what he said
the
was, "This is not the same LeBron." That's what he
right
said.
because it's based off the pace of play. You know what I mean? LeBron has to play at a slower pace to be effective nowadays, and it's kind of going against what they have over
Well,
there on the
LeBron
bench
will
today.
do whatever a team requires, and LeBron will be whatever he's required to be. He'll play all five positions, and so whatever the team USA needs from him, whether he rebounds, assist, whether he's point, he's center, he'll do it. So like, he's not the same LeBron. As to me, is a little disrespectful, man, because it's like
It is. It is.
he's LeBron.
Do you think it's a
That's,
coincidence that LeBron is just kind of watching the Wagner brothers and fucking Dennis Schroeder tear the Team USA up
Well,
until it's
Germany's
like,
pretty good
yeah, and
now.
then he's
well,
like,
no,
I'm gonna.
but
Germany's
like
pretty good.
they ain't comparable to these players. They're not. Franz is a solid player. Dennis Schroeder is a solid player,
Yeah,
but like
Franz got paid a lot of money.
he's
But
200
see,
million. But
when
like
it comes
LeBron
down,
is like, all right, now let me show you what my old ass can do.
but when it comes down to stuff like
Isn't
when it
it?
comes down to this FIBA thing, it's not about the team with the best players. It's mainly about the guys with the best chemistry. I mean,
But
because
doesn't this sum up
Well,
LeBron's
Darius is
career?
about to make a good point, Brandon. Hold on.
Mhm.
He's talking about the
um,
amount of years these guys play together versus the amount of years Team
yeah,
USA plays together.
chemistry in basketball is huge, and you got guys like Schroeder and the Wagner brothers. They doing this all the time, and we, based off our talent and our athleticism, feel like we can put anybody in those 12 slots and
Give him a
pull
week to
five
go.
and roll the ball out and say, "Hey, let's play." You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a lot of our guys looking bad after, like Devin Booker is looking terrible defensively. I mean, he's never been a stopper to me anyway. You
He's
know?
gotten worse. He was a solid defender for a couple of years
Well, and
there.
that's what LeBron said in
But like,
that post game interview with South Sudan. He said, "We've played together for 2 weeks. They've played together for 3 months.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Every single minute we play is about getting better than we were a minute ago." And leave it to LeBron. But this sums up LeBron's career, does it not? I mean, LeBron couldn't do it unless he was on the super team that is the Miami Heat. So he went and did it in Cleveland, right? I mean, this is the guy is always proving people like
Well, that Cleveland
don't
team is pretty good.
don't ever think I'm done, man. Like it's every
Oh,
time
he's
LeBron.
eventually gonna be done, but this is fun to
Yeah.
watch him and what it could be his. This is definitely his Olympic swan song, and like
Yeah.
Doc was saying, it's too much me, not enough team. I mean,
Yeah.
Michael, did you catch any of the game?
No, what time was it at?
It was like 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, so I was working. I didn't catch too much of it, but I mean, I saw the South Sudan game a little bit, and you're right. It's just a
Germany's a
sloppy
much better
basketball
team.
team.
Yeah, Germany's a much better team. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll give a shout out though to Luol Deng for financing and putting that team together.
Yeah,
Luol Deng has literally built that team in South Sudan. He's put all
Yeah.
the money behind them too. So
Yeah.
shout out
but
to
like,
Luol Deng.
And they only gonna get better.
do we want to
Yeah.
give a shit about USA basketball? Like, I mean, or we just
I
throw our
don't.
team together when it's time, right?
Yeah.
And then we just expect them to just dominate everybody. And now we're in close games with Sudan, who was a 43-point underdog. We're in close games with
I
Germany.
mean,
Like,
Yeah. Do you guys,
been
this team looks flat-footed. This team looks slow. They're not getting back on defense. They're not giving the effort that they need to give to
no,
win.
except for Anthony Davis. Yeah.
Anthony Davis needs to be starting for this team at center. Joel Embiid needs to come off the bench, 5-minute spurts, back him down and beat him up, and go sit back on the fucking bench because he's not getting back on defense. He's just not.
You guys know what FanDuel has the odds at for South Sudan winning the gold medal?
what is it?
Plus
75,000.
100,000.
Yeah.
That was close.
I have never seen that in my life, man. That is that's. Hey, Dustin, while we're on Team USA, can I bring something up?
Yes. Feel free.
Should every other sport mirror the way the WNBA like does the All-Star game?
the versus the world or whatever.
Like it's basically
Right.
the youth versus the veteran. Like that's basically how they. Like,
Yeah.
that was a really competitive, fun game to watch. It really was. And look at like the Pro Bowl, and I'll say like even the MLB All Star game this weekend, man. I mean, come on.
Baseball is dead, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Pro Bowl,
Baseball
the
is
Pro
so
Bowl. Let's
dead.
just stop.
Trash.
Let's just stop. Why we
Yeah.
do the Pro Bowl? Just stop that shit. The NHL All Star Weekend is a fun 48 hours, but the game itself, nobody wants to hit anybody because nobody wants to injure anybody. But like the format that the WNBA uses is the most competitive of all major sports. It
Doesn't
really
it
is.
need to be though to get to people to watch it?
I think it should be
they need to
USA
draw.
versus the world.
Well, wouldn't you want to watch like Wemby versus LeBron? Like, don't you want to watch like the youth of the Anthony Edwards and Wemby and these kids like Luca versus like LeBrons and Durant's and those guys? I would love to see how that plays because I think
I
that would
want to
make
see
them competitive.
what
Yeah,
Darius
I'd rather
is
be
saying. I think
USA versus the world.
USA versus the world, in terms
Mhm.
of basketball, in terms of an all-star game.
They
I think
did that. They did
yeah,
that.
yes, they did. Yeah, but that was
Yeah.
it was like a precursor to the
Oh,
actual
that was the
all-star.
rookies. That was a rookie
Yeah,
sophomore.
that was like a first night
Yeah.
thing.
But
When
was
Luca
it?
was a rookie.
But Jokic and
Luka's
Luka
first 2 years.
played. Jokic and Lukic played on the same team against USA.
Yeah, but not against the best players in the NBA. They played
Yeah.
against other rookies and second-year players.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah, no, it's a solid idea, man. I don't know. Like I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't
It'll
watch
definitely make the game more competitive.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure, because like the theme out there right now, and it's maybe showing itself over these last few years in international basketball, is that they're developing better players than us in America.
Listen, man, 4 to 5, 4 to 5, 4 of the top 5 in the league are from somewhere else.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
so-
what I'm referring to is that format because the NBA All Star Game is so uncompetitive. Nobody plays defense. You're just throwing up threes and alley oops, right? When you pin young guys against veterans, who wants to lose that game? Do veterans want to lose to rookies, and do young players want to prove that they're better than the like?
I don't know,
I
man.
think
Some
that
of them-
Interesting thought process.
that creates a competitive nature between these two guys, like groups
Nah,
of people.
I mean,
right?
the only
Some
thing
of them
that's
vets
going
go
to create.
out there and say, man, I don't want to chase these young boys today.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Yeah.
going to change. The only thing that's going to change it
No.
is
I think
is a bigger financial incentive.
if you have that USA versus the world, where those guys from them different countries, because they're going to play, they're going to come with it, because pride's on the line too.
Yeah, we're watching that right now, and USA just seems disinterested to me.
They just feel like it's going to come to them. Like they don't have to try to get it.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
that's because of arrogance, But these last 2 games showing you, like, listen, you got to come with it.
But like, why aren't we ready? Because like this shit has happened. This happened 4 years ago. Like
Yeah,
they
lost.
They get
Yeah.
they get smacked across the face, and they just expect the
Well,
win to come.
that team 4 years ago was terrible.
I don't okay, for sure, but like this team, is it that much better if you're not putting the right lineup out there? I would have Steph Curry out there with Ant Edwards, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. That would be my starting 5. And when it comes down to nut crunch time, those are the only 5 guys that are gonna play with Jason Tatum rotating in. Like
another thing too, this is a lot more physical than the NBA game as well. That's another thing that people are not looking at. This fever situation, they play
let them play.
Yeah, they play a more physical brand, and then they also don't have that goaltending rule. So they can get a rebound.
I'm gonna go out and say the refs favored USA in the last 10 minutes of that South Sudan game.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're gonna let the momentum catch up to you, then I think the refs gonna
Get caught up in that momentum too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's how basketball is, man. Like, as long as you handling business, the refs gonna pretty much go with it. I mean, they supposed to be neutral, but they're human beings too.
Which USA team are you guys more concerned about? The women who just lost to the rookies, or the men who almost gave a game to South Sudan?
The men.
Sounds crazy saying.
Man.
I think if you win a game, you're favored by 43.5 or whatever it was by 1 point.
Well, I'll say this.
When those ladies When those
the
ladies
women's
play those Olympic games, those FIBA games, when those ladies play, they
They
kick
ball out.
ass, boy.
They
well, they
ball
just
out.
played.
Yeah.
I was just going to say they just played the toughest game they're going to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just played
It's
the
not gonna be
toughest
close.
game against the WNBA. That's the toughest game they're going to play
Well,
throughout
but
the
think
entire
about how
series.
far the WNBA is behind the NBA in our country, and then extrapolate that to international. Like the
Yeah.
NBA, like basketball is catching up to the NBA because of Michael Jordan and all they just blew up in the '90s and started just spreading. Like the WNBA has not had that effect internationally on women's basketball that NBA players have had on international basketball.
Do you
at this
guys
point.
think if that game was played in the NBA, it would have? How do you think the result would play out if the Kevin Durant's, LeBron James played the Victor Wembanyama's and the Luka Doncic and those and
I
Anthony
think the vets
Edwards?
would find a way to win, man.
You think so?
I mean, if
I
you
don't
have
know.
if you have all the international players on one side against the American, the best 15 that they feel like in the NBA,
International would kick America's ass.
I think
Yeah,
so too.
I agree.
Well, you've got Wembanyama, Jokic, and Doncic on one team. That you're already,
Yeah.
and it's
You
a little
And you
lost.
forgot
wild.
about the Greek freak. You got. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Giglius Alexander's a Canadian. So you're
Shea
whatever the
Gilgeous
hell
That sounds like an
Alexander,
insane team.
Jamal Murray.
Saint.
Yeah.
I don't know. I disagree. I don't.
I think
But
yeah.
it keeps coming back to like Team USA versus the world. I want to see youth versus veteran. I think that's what draws.
I think the veterans
competitiveness.
find a way to get it done, man. I mean, look at LeBron right now in these games. When it comes down to it, in these games that are tight, when it's nut crunch time, LeBron is the one with the ball in his hands.
So you think like
He's
Drew
backing
Holiday,
people up.
Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant beat the Victor Wembanyama's, Anthony Edwards, and Luka Doncic's of the NBA? You think that happens?
Yeah,
I mean, of
think
course,
they
it'll
find-
be a
I mean,
better
you're throwing
lineup
in-
than that.
You got to throw in Steph Curry into that too.
It'll be you got to throw in Jason Tatum's. You got to throw in
yeah, like where's
Brunson
Jason Tatum in
and-
that? He's
Yeah,
been
I was
But
thinking about that. Like, where's the
Jason
cutoff?
Tatum Jason Tatum would play for the young team, I think.
Would he though? He's been in the
Young
league
guy.
for 8 years.
He's in his mid-20s, isn't he? 26?
Yeah, he's a young guy.
26.
He's
So
a
I
young
think he
guy,
played-
but he
he
came in the
played with-
league at 18. I mean, like he's been in the league playing meaningful games his whole career. He's a vet.
So you would have, it could be an Anthony Davis, Victor Wembanyama kind of like those.
The line is always 25 and under with those types of things, right?
Chet
Cut
Holmgren,
it off at 25.
Luka Doncic. I mean, I think they would make the game competitive, man. I don't think it would be the same bullshit we watch year in and year out, where it's
I can see it going
186.
both ways.
Like, look at the scores of those games.
Right.
Nobody plays defense because nobody gives a shit about winning or losing. They just don't care. Those two teams, the youth versus veterans, would not want to lose a game to a bunch of young kids. I'm telling you that. And young kids would want to prove that they're better than veteran players. Like
It's an interesting thought experiment, man. It's never going to happen, but like I still think the veterans would find a way to win. Like if it happened this year.
Yeah, but you when you say that, it implies to me that the veterans would take it seriously enough to compete because the game is not
That's the
competitive.
issue.
When
They
in the
don't
last 5
compete.
minutes, it'll matter. I mean, I don't know if you remember that All-Star game when they first did this new All-Star game rule where like
The
first
Kobe number thing.
yeah,
Kobe
That was
Iverson,
like the best
remember
All-Star
that?
game.
that was the best All-Star game.
Yeah,
Man,
remember that? Caring about that game? You remember
Yeah.
wanting to watch that game?
that
Like,
shit was fun.
Giving a shit about. Do you remember when NBA players, established NBA players, would compete in a dunk contest? Because that's gone too.
Yeah.
Oh, I was about to say the dunk contest is just the biggest ass in the NBA All-Star.
Because these guys are paid too much to worry about. They're worried about the effect it might have on their season, right? Like, but I don't want to get in. I'm not gonna.
No, I don't think it's
myself
that. I think they don't want to get out there and lose.
and
I think
compete.
that John Morant don't want to get out there and not win, like and take a
I
chance.
think-
Like they got everything to lose, nothing to gain. You know.
Yeah, I think 06 was the last time I was invested in an NBA All-Star game.
Do you think if they gave that same dynamic in the NFL, it would make the game any more competitive?
Hell,
No,
Like,
NFL
Holmes
NFL.
was facing Caleb Williams. Do you think those guys?
Nah,
would
they're
try out?
screwed.
Nah.
NFL should just
There's no
disband
reason.
everything.
Yeah, well, they got the flag football shit now. Right? Like they
Yeah.
don't want injury. There's it's such a violent sport, Brandon. You can't make that game competitive.
Yeah,
And
I
no
was-
team wants it to be, and no player wants it to be. So that just is what it is, and it's not going to change.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
they should just do away with it. There shouldn't even
Yeah.
be one. they can select you on paper to being like an all-star, if you will, but just let
put it on
that
Twitter
shit
and
be.
that's it with it.
Yeah, just let it go.
Well, but no, they all like going to Hawaii and hanging out and shit.
I mean,
they
they
have
can
fun.
make
The
that
players.
happen, but as far as that game is concerned, man,
Yeah,
It's
fly them
like,
out to Hawaii for their own little vacation together and then send them back.
I
I'll be
miss
right back.
the quarterback skills competitions from back in the day.
yeah, yeah,
those were fun, but like
yeah.
you know, I just think all these all-star games in general, they're just not meant to breed competitiveness, and I think that's okay.
I think that USA versus the world though,
Yeah, for sure.
that'll do it. That'll do it because
Speak.
these guys in the United States, you know, if you mention the fact that these international players are taking over their league, they'll take that personally.
They get real sensitive about it, but I
Yeah.
mean, you can't argue with the fact that it's happening, man.
Nah, like I said, the top 5 players in the NBA are from somewhere else.
I mean, I don't know. I know it's a sports show, guys, but like, let's just. I mean, Biden dropped out of the
Yeah.
dropped out of the presidential race yesterday. How shocked were you to hear that? I mean, I was blown away by it. It's unprecedented. This shit don't happen. Like the incumbent president just dropping out 3 months ahead of an election.
I mean,
like,
shit, he barely made it through his term, man. Like Biden was struggling, bro.
yeah, but he didn't want to drop out. That's
I
not.
think it was for the best. I think his advisors knew too it was for the best because you know I don't think he can handle the you know what I'm saying,
Again,
the regular role of, you know, just that whole rundown with the politics. He can't handle it anymore. You know.
Well, again, I think it's someone else also pointed out. Again, I don't care too much about politics. Again, maybe that's just because I'm young. I will at some point probably, but right now I don't. But Biden hasn't like been out in public. No one's seen this dude since that's been announced. Like, where is this guy?
He's supposed to be.
Like he put his tweet out and then like no one's heard from him. No one's seen him.
He's at his senior home.
No,
like I don't know where he is.
He's at his home in Delaware, recovering from COVID. They say. I mean, it's just
how convenient.
What the hell happened when I left?
Dude, I just wanted to bring it up. The fact that this has been like one of the craziest weeks in the history of our country. That you know, an assassination attempt on one presidential candidate, and then the other sitting president drops out of the race 3 months before the election. Is this fucking for real? Like this stuff don't happen, guys. And
that's
like,
just the state of politics in this country.
What could be unburdened by what has been announced.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's good we have sports to distract us.
Thank
from
God,
stuff,
yeah.
Because like, if you really think about this, like all the stuff that went into this assassination attempt and all the stuff that went into Joe Biden got forced out of running. That's what happened. This shit is crazy.
Which is strange because like America voted for him to be the candidate. So what happens to the American vote? Like, is that just kicked out the window?
I've seen that question too.
Well, I mean, no. Well, the thing is, they all.
Hey, while we're on the subject, can I saw. I don't know if this is true. Did Brittany Griner really sit through another national anthem?
I don't know.
I saw
I have no idea.
I don't know if that's the truth, but I saw that. I was a little like,
she should be standing anytime she hears the first note of that shit.
That's what I'm saying, man.
To be like, in America right now.
Almost went to prison in another country. That sucks. Right?
Right. Speaking of national anthems, I'm sure you guys all heard the Derby anthem, right? That was something else. I mean, it kind of got ruined after the next day.
She's going to rehab.
Yeah, it kind of ruined the like humor aspect of it, but in the moment, that was by far worse than Fergie. That was awful.
I mean, have you heard Carl Lewis?
No.
Or Jerry Stackhouse?
Jerry Stackhouse singing the national anthem?
Yeah.
I've heard Carl Lewis. I ain't heard Jerry Stackhouse. I mean, he's a secret singer.
He's a better basketball player. I tell you that. Nah, but he sung the national anthem one time before he played. You can look it up on YouTube. Interesting. But I think Carl Lewis is.
I think
Whoa.
yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know if
we're
you
running
guys
out of
heard
steam
Carl
like
Lewis,
Joe
man.
Biden about
Yeah,
right now, guys.
yeah. Joe Biden making his way into the Chicago sports podcast.
Yeah, we're running out of steam here. I appreciate everybody that was in the chat tonight. I appreciate Michael and Darius and Brandon for spending some time with me tonight. This has been fun. Michael, you got anything? Anything pop in your head about sports wise before we get out of here, or anything just in general?
No, I'm excited for football to come because I'm sure it doesn't matter Sox or Cubs fan. You're tired of your baseball team at this point. I'm pretty sure we're all looking forward to football.
I was tired of them before the season started. Darius, what's up with you?
Nothing much, man. Bear down as usual. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to the whole team in Chicago Sports Podcast. One thing. Did you all hear Brittany Griner refer to herself as she's gonna be a new father?
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
Caught me off
She
guard a little
corrected
bit,
the
but
reporter instead of saying, because I think the reporter said you're gonna be a new mom. She was like, Pops. And
All
I was
right.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I've discussed Brittany Griner with a collective group of friends. I refer to her as a man, anyways. Like my buddy
I
was
don't think.
my buddy
Yeah,
was talking to me, and I was like, "Yeah, he's one big dude." Like,
well, because I don't think she also like wears like a shirt in a pool. I think that's like it's like she doesn't like shirtless, like trunks. I think so. I
and
saw
nobody
that the
gives a
first. I
shit.
was like, I have no idea what's going
I
on
think she
here.
practices that deep voice too.
Oh, we are off the fucking rails.
Yeah, let's not dive too deep into
Brandon,
this. I'll
I'm
tear
afraid
this
to
up.
Nah,
ask
bro.
you. Do you have anything, Brandon? I'm afraid what you're gonna say.
No, nothing in regards to politics, man. I did have something I want to say about sports, man. Me and Michael talked about this a little bit. I pray to God Crochet does not end up on that Dodgers team, man. Please don't let that
Yeah,
happen. It's like
I
my
think it's for
biggest
two
nightmare.
different reasons, though. I don't think you just don't want to see him on the Dodgers because he'd make them really good. I don't want him on the Dodgers because the Dodgers have fucking nothing good to offer for the White Sox. I hate everything in their farm system, and
No,
James Outman's terrible.
I've no both because like Cap and Hood have no both because Cap and Hood have thoroughly gone over like they have like the third ranked farm system in baseball, man. But I just
But again, when you think of the
like
Dodgers farm
they need
system,
to
who's come out of it? No one's good
they
has come
need to
out of that system.
they need to well we got Bellinger and Bush from the Dodgers who have both made an impact on the Cubs, but they
Yeah.
need to pay for the fact that they gave $750 million to a guy who can't pitch this year. Like
Yeah,
that's my thing, man. Like you signed Otani, he's leading the league in home runs. You got your hitter. Hernandez has gone off. You got another hitter there. You already had Mookie Betts. You already have Freddie Freeman. I don't want that team getting a starting pitcher out of the White Sox, man.
No.
Like I don't. This
I mean
Dodgers team
they're
is going to dominate baseball
The
for a
Dodgers
fucking
dominate
decade.
baseball every year until the
yeah.
playoffs, though.
Until the
So,
postseason. This is true.
they don't
They
seem to
just
win when
smoked
it
the
counts.
Red Sox over the
Yeah.
weekend. Like I don't want to see them getting any better, man. I really don't. I guess you're right, Michael. It is kind of it's a hater thing more than a
Yeah.
lover thing.
Yeah.
I do
Well, I
like
mean, their
Crochet,
IL
but
starting pitchers are insane. Like they have like a full starting rotation on IL.
when you got to
Like they
wonder,
don't even need them,
like,
but
is
like they
Crochet a
kind of do at
piece?
the same time.
Is Crochet a piece the White Sox should consider doing
Keeping.
something around?
Shouldn't the
Yeah.
White Sox consider
I
moving
I think
forward?
Hagen Smith has sealed that deal. Their first round pick, the lefty from Arkansas, who I think is really good. But I think
I'm
that sealed his fate. I think they're gonna sell him
Crochet's
to
been
highest bidder.
Crochet has been arguably the best pitcher in baseball.
Oh,
Well,
On
if
a
you're the White
I'm not
Sox,
sure I agree with it, but
what's
they
that,
need
Dustin?
if you're the
but
White
don't we
Sox, why
need
would
like a
you not want to?
5-man rotation? 4 or 5-man
yeah.
rotation?
Why would you not want to get rid of everyone if you're the White Sox? Why would you not want a complete fucking fire sale and just get as much?
Well, I think it depends on. Do
as-
you feel like you have a cornerstone piece in Luis Robert or Garrett Crochet? Garrett Crochet
What's a
has been.
cornerstone piece to this team though? They don't.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be competitive by
I
the
mean,
time.
because they already
Like,
gave up every damn body in the first place.
Oh, and they
I
don't
mean, like,
sell. The one thing about the Sox is they have the ability to get rid of everybody because they don't sell tickets anyways. So like
Exactly.
they can go ahead and scrap it because like the Cubs have to be at least entertaining because
Yeah.
that stadium people go there and watch baseball games.
Mhm.
nobody cares. So like
Well,
that's the
you know,
power of the
honestly,
White
man,
Sox.
it's not a bad deal to go watch a White Sox game. They got a nice stadium, man.
I
It's
went there. I
I'll
went there
I'll
to
only
see.
go if like Thorpe or Crochet or Fetty's going. Like if I see Chris Flexen's on the mound, I'd go take that $5 somewhere else.
but like just like when I used to go to Cubs games, man, when they sucked, it wasn't about the baseball on the field. It was about the beer on the train on the way to the field.
It's
Well,
true.
You know, like,
and
Helping beers
Wrigley
weren't $12 also.
and Wrigley
hell yeah,
Field
that's why
is
you
one of
slam a 30-pack on the train.
Yeah.
and
I've
Wrigley
never been
Field
to a
is one of
Cubs
the
fan as
most
an adult, man.
that's one of the most iconic sports stadiums in the world. Like tourists go to Cubs games to say that they went to
Oh yeah,
Wrigley
it's just
Field.
nice to be sitting in the bleachers and look
Yeah.
at the field. You know, like so. I mean, like I don't know. I don't think either one of these teams are competitive this year. I think the Cubs got to be a lot more disciplined in what they do or don't do.
Yeah.
But the White Sox need to let it all go and get as much in return
Well,
as they can.
the Cubs got
That's
to
the
be
only
willing to
smart thing
spend
to do.
some
Which is why they
damn
don't do
money.
it. Huh?
The Cubs apparently, I think they're 8th in salary, but the Cubs spend all their money on all the wrong things, man.
Well, I mean,
Like
if you think about it, their two best acquisitions in the offseason, Bush and Imanaga, they panned out and the
rookies,
team is worse.
yeah,
And the
rookies.
team got worse. Like, it doesn't really add up if you think about it that way,
Because
but
they don't
I just don't
sign
think the team was
They
that
don't
good in the
sign
first place.
quality players. They waited for everybody to
Yeah.
get signed. They signed Bellinger. Bellinger's taking a step back, which we all expected. But
Yeah, why would
they
that? Why did they even re-sign Bellinger?
they
I
didn't
didn't think
sign
they
it.
were going to. Like,
They didn't
didn't they
sign
end
it,
Appeasement.
Chapman. And I'm really curious to know because they flaunted themselves what the offer was for Otani. I really want to know what that offer was because I don't think it was anywhere near what the Dodgers. Because they're
No.
like, we tried. We had our hat in the pool. Like, no, you didn't. You didn't
Knowing the
offer that guy.
Cubs, you know damn well
You
we
offered him
wasn't gonna take
$300 million, and he said
$5.
no, and you're like, oh, we tried.
We did it. Hey, better though than the White Sox owner saying
Yeah.
before it even started, that guy is not going to be on the
Oh,
White
guys,
Sox. Like,
Jerry
okay,
Reinsdorf might have a heart attack if he gave
guys,
someone $500 million.
since we were about to sign off, but all this conversation started, let me just say, Matas Buzelis is the shit.
He
hell
looks
yeah.
good.
He is the
He looks
real
good.
deal. He is
Did
the
you
real.
guys read this stuff? Did you
I
read
don't
this
care
stuff
that it's
today?
summer league. He's the
Did
real
you read?
deal.
Yeah, did you read this stuff today? Because Summer League ended.
Read the stuff.
Oh, there's like multiple GMs and NBA analysts and active players on their Twitter account. Like, this dude is a pro. This dude is the real fucking deal. Like that kid is balling out, man. It's exciting, and he's gonna play alongside Giddy. That is something Bulls fans should be excited about, man. Because Giddy's been doing his thing too. He's playing for Australia right now. He just had close to a triple double.
Yeah. Josh Giddey's very good. He's very good.
The Bulls are going to be fun, but Matas Buzelis, man, like he's got that. He just has an ability to get to the rim. He has an ability to defend the basket. He has a great shot. His stroke looks good.
He leads the break. Yeah, he's
He's got handles. Like he just has it, man. Like he can make a play. Like you just like watching Patrick Williams in summer league. You never saw him just take over the game like this.
Yeah.
You know, and just in the ways that Buzelis can do it, like that's going to translate to the NBA. The way he gets to the basket, can finish around the rim. I mean, that's just it's going to translate. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
yeah. You know what's funny you bring that because like Patrick Williams was like you see his size and you're like, oh, there's so much potential with this kid's size, and Buzelis is like you look at him, you're like, man, he's probably gonna get beat up and pushed around, and then you watch him play and you're like, all right, size doesn't matter. This kid, he knows what the hell he's doing, man.
Well, I mean, he's got some size to him, man. He's a lengthy.
He's lengthy, but he's
he's lengthy
small.
for sure. But I mean, he's I don't know. I'm just very excited about watching.
No,
him.
the Bulls made the right pick. That was a great pick.
They were lucky to have him fall to them in that spot.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I work it with. I don't think the world will go to sleep if we talk about the Bulls, but I'm really excited. I am to watch them be bad is exciting. I guess that's the point I'm at with the Bulls.
I mean, you know, if they keep Zach and Vooch, hey man, let the good times roll.
I don't know. I think Vooch will get you a quality return, man. I think Vooch is a player you can actually get. Zach is not.
They can't get rid of either one of those guys, man.
And the kid they got from the Kings isn't a bad player either, man. But I think Vooch is a player you can get something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Vooch is a player I think the Bulls could get a return on, man. Whether it be in draft capital or just role players, I think they can get.
I don't think those moves are happening until mid All-Star. break time. You know,
No, yeah, they're gonna wait till the
trade
season.
deadline. You got to let Zach build up his.
They're gonna let teams get
his
desperate.
trade
Yeah.
value. Oh, and also, you know, Vooch can show his value to a team, and Zach LaVine especially. If he averages 25 points a game for the first half of the season on this team, which he will if he's healthy, because that's what he does. He balls out on bad teams.
Well, yeah,
then
without
you
DeRozan,
have some trade
he'll
value.
just without DeRozan, his statistics should definitely increase.
Well, I mean, it's going to be, you know, the 25 a game, which is what he averages in these situations. And
You know what I was reading today, Dustin?
What's up?
I forgot to mention. Like, I'm reading all this excitement for Lonzo Ball for the Bulls. Like, I thought this relationship was dead in the water.
No, that when you said that, and those reports were never like actually reported by the Bulls. Like those were just rumors
No,
out
but
there.
I had read like multiple sources saying it looks like Ball has played his last game as a Chicago Bull.
I didn't read
Yeah,
that from any reputable.
I did see that.
I mean, I'm
I
just
saw
saying
those,
like,
but those
don't
weren't reputable sources.
don't. I'm not excited about Lonzo Ball. I'm because I don't think Lonzo Ball is going to play basketball. But like, I'm surprised that the Bulls are going to stick to this narrative, man.
Dude, if he's healthy, I mean, the odds of him being healthy enough ever to be
not likely.
impact player in the NBA are low.
This
But if
feels
he is,
Brandon Royish.
if he is healthy, he's a great defender and he's a hell of a facilitator and a great ball handler, man. So I mean, he could be an interesting piece on a young developing team. He could if
And with Josh
he
Giddey, he can play off the bench, so you don't have to strain his knees.
Well, yeah, he would be a bench player regardless. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff that's going to go on with the Bulls. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on with the Bears. Obviously, we got training camp in full effect, and just excited to keep seeing these highlights come out. Hopefully, we get some more videos from Bearski that we can throw up here. Again, appreciate you guys being here.
Thanks, Chad. Thanks, Trax.
Thank you so much for joining us in the chat, and staying active. It got
Appreciate
real inactive once we started talking about USA basketball, but I just wanted to get it out there because I was watching them earlier, and it bothers me. We need some pride in our USA basketball team, and I want them to show that on the court.
Yeah.
But Michael, thank you for being here. Brandon, thank you for being here.
Yep.
Derek, great job as always. Have a great night. Bear down. Chicago Sports Podcast will be back with you guys on Wednesday. Make sure you tune in, like, and subscribe.
Bear down, Sack Town.
Bear down, guys.
Yep. See you.
Have a good night, fellas.